Okay, so today in this video we're going to be looking at the Flirc case, so the Raspberry Pi, and the Ibuffalo Famicom style controller. So let's dive into this. Starting off with the Flirc case. Some nice packaging, pretty sturdy. They got a little foam up here to protect that bad boy. So let's go ahead and get her out. So open her up. Pretty solid, got a little heft to it. Pretty nice so far. Taking the bottom off, this is a cooling case, revision 3 it says on there. You have the cooling straight to the CPU. And here's the bottom piece. It has like a rubberized feel to the plastic. Then it does come with the screws you're going to need to assemble it and a little thermal compound tape stuff. So let's go ahead and put the Raspberry Pi into this guy. That rhymed, I know. So getting her in there, pretty easy fit. A lot of space. Like I said, the CPU makes contact with the case, as the case is essentially a big heat sink. Go ahead and get her on there. Fits nice and flush. Now to start the screwing action, fast forward a little bit. Screw this bad boy in. Pretty easy to screw it in. It's the holes are pretty shallow, so any Phillips head will work. So we got her all in. Nice hefty feel, solid. We got the Flirc logo on the side. And you got everything accessible, our HDMI, power, all our USBs. Got the rubberized feel on the top, rubberized bottom. Now the ultimate test. Can we put a microsd into this bad boy and take it out very easily? Let's find out. So sliding her in, very easy, very flush with the system. If you don't have nails, I don't have like really short or long nails, just normal, I guess you would say. I can't get that thing out. That is not coming out. I'm going to have to use my electronic tweezers. I really don't want to use to pull this out, but that's the only way I could get the that microsd out. It's less than a millimeter of space, so it seems like if you don't have nails, you're not going to pull it out. You're just not going to be able to pull it out, so you got to realize that it's going to be in there unless you got nails or a tweezer. I can't even guarantee with nails you can get it out, but there we go. Take it out. That's the one downside to some of these cases, not having the SD card accessible or easily removed is a big negative in my opinion. Now, if you're leaving it in there, it's fine. But now let's take a look real quick at the Ibuffalo Famicom type controller. Let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. Okay, so looking at it, pretty solid, long cable, about 6 feet long. Feels pretty nice in the hands. Buttons have a real good feel to them, very close to the original type controllers, like the NES, Super Nintendo. It's not a very heavy controller, but it doesn't feel cheap at the same time. The cord is nice and solid and thick, not cheap. Definitely one of my favorite controllers. Looking at it, the LNRs, they're kind of different, but they work. They're just slivers that kind of they're molded into the plastic there. They work nice and they feel nice. We do have our turbo button. Press it, press a button, you got turbo. Press clear, press the button, it's gone. So ultimate test, let's try these bad boys out, see how they perform. Let's do it. Okay, so just diving into it, taking a look at this controller, taking a look at the Flirc case and the performance we're getting out of these two. Overall, just to touch on the Flirc case real quick, because it's just a case essentially. It does get kind of warm because essentially it's just a big ass heat sink. It gets warm, but it takes care of that dissipation of the heat off of the CPU. I have this bad boy overclocked to 1350 right now. It's been on for hours, have not gotten a single overheat warning. So definitely the case is performing and doing what it's supposed to do, which is awesome. Some people worry with these aluminum metal cases getting any kind of distortion to your wireless signals. Using Bluetooth, using Wi-Fi, I've had no issues. Nothing that I could tell. Maybe some more tests are needed, but I've heard most people with this case don't have those issues. There's some cases out there that their Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is affected. I haven't had any kind of trouble with that I've noticed anyway. My transfer speeds all stay the same. Don't drop connection or anything like that. So that's a definite plus. Just to wrap it up as far as the case goes, would I buy this again? Yes, I probably would. It costs $15 right now on Amazon. Link will be in the description. My main concern is, let me take a step back though. Would I buy it again? Yes. Would I buy multiple ones of these? No. I'm happy with just having one. Now, my biggest issue is the accessibility on that microsd. Can't get that bad boy out. Just cannot get it out. It protrudes just a very tiny little bit amount. If you had longer nails, maybe you could pinch it out and pull it out. I can't get it. I have to use tweezers to pull that thing out, and I don't like that. And for that reason, mostly that reason, plus it doesn't have the heat sink attachment, touching the GPU, just the CPU. If it was touching that would be awesome. I would give this like a 10 out of 10 all day. But due to those couple concerns, price I'm not too worried about. $15 I feel is a good price. Obviously, if it was cheaper, that would be awesome. But $15 I feel is a fair price for this case. But just for those two flaws, I would have to give this case an 8 out of 10. If it wasn't for those, I would give it a 10 out of 10. But I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10 if I were to have to assign it a score. So 8 out of 10 on that bad boy. Now to the controller, the Ibuffalo Famicom style. And this kind of holds true to the Super Nintendo style as well, because they're both high quality controllers. They both feel well. The button response, the responsiveness of the buttons and the feel of them is just top notch. With the Famicom one, you do have these different type of L and R buttons that are kind of, you have this trim that goes around, and they're just kind of, part of that, just kind of matches the trim that goes around, which it's a little different, but it works. It's fine. Haven't had any complaints with that. I really dig these controllers. With the Famicom ones, the gold is like a sticker, essentially like a metallic sticker. I have not had that come off on any of these controllers that I've had. You do get that turbo functionality, which I don't really use, but I guess that's nice to have, even though, in RetroArch you can set, turbo if you so chose. So it's not 100% necessary. It's not going to add any points to it for having it. There's no heft to it. It is a fairly light controller, which is not necessarily synonymous with cheap. I think it's a high quality controller. There's just not much heft to it. It feels very light. The cord is a nice thickness. Sometimes you get these controllers and the cords are real thin and cheap feeling. This, pretty solid cord. Feels nice, looks nice. It's pretty long, about 6 feet almost. I don't know what else to say about this controller. When it comes to wired controllers, the Ibuffalo Super Nintendo and this Famicom are my favorites. Hands down, my favorites. Now, if I were to assign a score to this controller, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Reason being is because it's not the original controller. If it's the original actual controller, 10 out of 10 all day. So I just don't want to, because you could get original controllers that work by using USB attachments. So to me, it's like, hey, that's perfection using the originals. But this is so damn near close to the feel as far as the buttons go that it's a 9 out of 10 all day for me. I buy these all the time. Highly recommend them. Some people don't like wired. They want to have wireless. But you're going to pay that price for wireless, obviously. And then other people, they might say, hey, you know what? Yeah, these controllers are about 12, 13 bucks usually. But I'd rather have an Xbox controller. I'd rather have a PlayStation controller. That's fine. I look at this as a whole different category than those kind of controllers. This is not in the same category. This is the retro controller. This is something for the guys who want to play Super Nintendo, Nintendo, their old school arcade games, and they want to have that feel, specifically, Nintendo stuff, because these controllers are modeled after Nintendo controllers. So that's what this is for. The guys who are into the retro gaming don't need the analog sticks. That's where these are at. These are for those guys. These are for me. I have controllers with analogs and all that, so you know, I'm not biased one way or another. I just look at it differently, depending on the task at hand. You know, if you want to play, you know, certain games, you're going to want to use an Xbox type controller or a controller with analogs. If you just want to play old school games, Super Nintendo, NES, you know, most arcade games, you know, these are fine. These are great. So definitely highly recommend these. Can't speak highly enough of these. Links will be in the description if you guys want to check them out. But with that said, I'll go ahead and end this. Appreciate it. If you guys, you know, like the review, give a thumbs up on there. You know, smash that like button, whatever. I don't know. Everybody keeps saying smash that like button, so I might as well say it too. Smash it. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. I've got a lot more content to come ahead. A lot of cool little tutorials, some little custom builds I'm working on. A few little surprises as well. So I'll catch y'all next time. Boom.